All right guys, welcome back. Today is another special episode where we're doing maintenance. We're still trying to get our van all dialed in after our time in South America. We're back in the United States. I'm here at my father's place. So the mission today is an oil change. This is pretty straightforward, pretty simple. There's a few things that we're gonna go over that you need, and this can definitely save you a lot of money versus taking it to the dealership or to somewhere else to have someone else do this. If you are just a little bit handy and able to turn a wrench, you should be able to pull this off. To do this oil change, we're gonna need a couple of things. First off, we're gonna need 13 quarts of synthetic motor oil. Now you need to make sure here on the label that it has a Mercedes-Benz rating. Let's see here, it says MB approval, and it's the 22951 is what my van recommends. Now you need to look in your owner's manual or check this out online and make sure you're getting the proper spec. Now, I am not a professional mechanic. I want to say that first and foremost, but I am somebody who likes taking care of my van and working on it and knowing what's going on. My understanding, the Mercedes spec oil is a low ash oil, and if you get the regular oil, it'll gum things up with the ash in there. So check for the Mercedes-Benz spec. This is Mobil 1, and it's a special European formula, and it has that spec on there, but you'll see it in other oils as well. So we need 13 quarts of oil, and we're gonna need a new oil filter. This is one I got off of Amazon. This is a man filter. Let's see, the number here says HU821X. And these are relatively easy to come by. We're also gonna need a copper crush washer. Can you see that? It's basically the washer that goes on the drain plug. This crushes into place and makes a good seal. And you don't really want to reuse these. Like if you're in a pinch and you kept everything really clean and there's no nicks or dings in the old washer, you could probably reuse it once. But I would recommend getting a bunch of these. I got these off of Amazon, and I don't know, I got like 50 of them for 10 bucks, and they're great. So, then we're also gonna need a 13 millimeter wrench to open the drain plug. And I don't have a fancy oil filter tool to remove the cap off the oil filter. So today I'm using a big set of channel locks. And this just, basically you just need to break it loose, just a quarter of a turn, eighth of a turn even, and then you can do it with your fingers from there. So we're just gonna go with the channel locks. And something pretty cool, the guys at ValvoMax, these guys make oil change accessories and things that just make your life easier. And I am going to install the ValvoMax Quick Twist oil drain plug. And once this is on, I'm gonna be able to use this cool fitting that it has with this piece of hose to run this through my skid plate. And it's gonna make changing oil very quick and easy. Now they also have fittings where you can basically use this piece of tubing and run it straight into an oil change bag, which is kind of like a big bladder of a bag. That's gonna make it really easy to change your oil. And then you can just take that bag to the auto parts store, drain it into their recycle, and off you go. So I really like this. This is gonna be a good thing. Unfortunately today, I'm just gonna install it. And the next time I do an oil change, I'll be able to show you guys how it works to actually drain the oil with this. But this is gonna be a really cool thing. So here's the actual drain plug itself. Look at this, it looks like stainless steel. It has a cap, opens up, and then this hose screws on. And once this goes on, there's a little check valve in there that then when I tighten this up, it's gonna feed, the oil's gonna come straight out into whatever I want it to go into. So I'm super excited with this. This is gonna be a really nice addition. All right, another awesome thing that I got from ValvoMax is a 17 quart drain pan. And this one has a really cool funnel on it that's gonna allow me to drain the oil really easily. Today, since I'm basically doing this without the fitting on, I'm gonna do it the old-fashioned way, into the pan. My future oil changes, I'll be using that hose and I'll be feeding it right into a bag or a bottle or whatever I have handy with me. This is gonna be a really nice drain pan to keep here at my father's place. So when I need to do oil changes here, it'll just make it a little faster, a little cleaner maybe, but I'm gonna use it today. Another nice thing I got from ValvoMax is this oil catch blanket. This is gonna go under where I'm working. So then if any oil does get loose or I make a mess, this is gonna be there to catch it and soak it up, and I'm not gonna hopefully leave a terrible stain on my father's driveway. So this is cool. This folds out. It's pretty big, as you'll see when we get under there, and it's great. I used this on the rear differential video that I shot, and I really liked how it worked. All right, I think the last thing, unless I'm forgetting something, and if I am, please leave it in the comments down below. Rubber gloves. I'm wearing my old dirty clothes that I don't mind changing oil in if I get them a little grubby. Let's start off. We're gonna drain the oil out of the engine at the bottom, and I'll show you how to do that here just right now. All right, let's go into the van and let's drain the oil. So the oil I'm using today is the Mobil 1. This is a 5W30, which is what I normally use. It's been great. Now this is the European formula. It does have the Mercedes-Benz spec on here that you want, but this is what we're going with today. One thing that really makes life better when I'm groveling around under the van working on things is my Inhabit DesignWorks mat. Now this is the same mat that I would use for right here in front of the slider door when I'm camped somewhere, but when you're working on your rig, it's really nice to be able to throw this out under there. You can crawl in and out on this mat. It's got a foam backing, so it's kind of soft. It takes the bite off of sharp rocks if you're in the gravel or the dirt or even the mud. And I find this thing very useful for many things, but especially working on the van, this is really a nice thing to have. If I get oil on something, I want it to be on this oil mat and not on my Inhabit mat. Okay, let's crawl under here and get to it. This shouldn't take too long. Okay, I'm down here right at the driver's side front tire, and as I look under the van, I'm gonna see the drain plug. This is in a pretty easy place to reach. Now yours might look a little different because I have the Agile off-road skid plates on here, and that makes it just look a little different because it's protected and it's covered up a little bit by the skid plate, but there is a big hole in there where the oil is gonna drain through the skid plate, hopefully. Now you want to have your van pretty much leveled. I've got my van on a couple of max tracks here, just strictly to level it out because the driveway has a little bit of a slope. So I'm using them just for that. And but it's pretty simple. So let's break this thing loose and start draining oil. Okay, this right here is the drain plug. Let's see if you can get a good view of that. Like I said, I am underneath the van. This is the turbo hose that I made another video about that goes out sometimes, and it's right below that on the bottom of this oil pan. It's kind of in the front of the engine, and you'll see there's a 13mm bolt there. That's what we're getting ready to loosen and drain the oil. I'm afraid this might be a little hard for you guys to see. I can only kind of put the camera in so many places. Let's pop this bolt loose. All right, I got it loose, man. That was on there pretty tight. Now, before I go any further, I want to get my oil pan positioned to catch this as best I can. Before I go any further and pop this completely loose, I'm gonna do one more thing because I'm not 100% sure that the van is leveled and I don't want to spill a bunch of oil. So I'm gonna go grab a funnel that I can funnel it through this hole in the skid plate. So there's the plug. I'm gonna put this funnel right here, and it's gonna funnel the oil through this hole in the skid plate. I can probably have to hold it, and that should make this a lot cleaner. Okay, so here is the new ValvoMax drain plug. I have my crush washer. It's copper. I'm gonna put that on there. And then I need a big 24mm wrench now to turn this thing, which is fine, but a little different than the 13mm that I used earlier. It is just trickling the last little bits of oil. I'm gonna let it completely drain, and then we'll put this in. And this will replace the stock drain plug. Quite a difference. Now this ValvoMax is really neat because it's got this cap. I unscrew this, and then when I screw on the hose fitting, it has a little pin in there that then hits against this check ball, and it will then, once this goes on and is screwed tight, it will then start draining. But with this off, it won't drain oil, so you don't have to worry about it draining your oil out. And then it definitely won't, it has a cap on here that has a gasket and an O-ring down here, and you tighten this up, and even if that check valve, something happened, it's not going to come through there. So I think this is going to be a neat addition. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think, if you've used these in the past. I think the only really bad thing about these is they do stick out more than a traditional drain plug, but I am completely protected with my Agile off-road skid plate. So where I would be worried about this is a rock hitting it and knocking it off, because it sticks out more than this hex bolt. But it's totally protected, and I think on the Sprinter in general, it's gonna be fine anyway, because it's up there fairly high. It'd be kind of hard to knock it off. This is gonna be a really nice addition to make changing the oil so much faster, simpler, and the thing I'm really excited about is cleaner. Right now what is happening, the oil is dripping and it's kind of blowing, and this is the messiest part I've found. And with this hose attached, I'm gonna go straight into an oil change bag, and it's never gonna have the ability to do what it's doing right now. Okay, so I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna install this now. I'll show you what it looks like once I get it put in. Here's what it looks like. So what's gonna be really great about this is then when I put the drain hose on, look at that, it goes right below my skid plate and will go right into a bag, or into a pan or a milk carton or whatever the heck I need to drain into. But this is gonna make doing oil changes in the field so much easier. I'm gonna love this. Especially owning a skid plate on your vehicle. The hardest thing is that it doesn't always feed right through this hole, that sometimes it ends up running down your skid plate and going one way or the other, or the wind blows it like it did a second ago. And I'm not gonna have this issue anymore, because I'm gonna screw this on, and it's gonna feed right out. Next step, change out the fuel filter. It's right here. As we look in the engine compartment, the oil filter is this big round knob right here, and you're gonna turn this loose. Okay. Air box, oil filter. It's really close to the windshield washer fluid reservoir. Here it comes. Okay, I got a few paper towels handy, just in case. Undoing the cap. And here it is. It's kind of hard to get your hand in there and get this out without dripping everywhere. Okay, here it is. It comes out of the cap. You just want to kind of pay attention to how it comes apart. Okay, I've got it out, and you can see there's this little, plastic centerpiece here. There's an O-ring here, and there's an O-ring on the cap. Those are going to get replaced. When you buy your oil filter, it should come with O-rings. So double check that they're in the box maybe, if you're buying them in person. If you're buying them like me on Amazon, you just kind of got to hope for the best. But they've always been there. It's a pretty important part. Let's see here. Filter is just a tube, so it'll slide on like this. There's no top or bottom necessarily, but we do want to switch out these O-rings. Now these things are slippery. All right, to get this O-ring off, I've got a 90-degree pick. Will that focus? And that's just gonna let me get under there since it's kind of slimy from being coated in motor oil, and I've got these slippery gloves on. I'm just gonna pop this off. And I'm just gonna put it right here in case for some reason I need it again. And then the other one just comes off the barrel around the threads. Put this right here on my oily rag. Then I'm gonna look in the fuel filter box, and there they are. There's the other two. So be careful not to drop these. They're definitely little, and like I said, my hands are coated in oil, so they're kind of slippery. But I'm gonna pop that on, easy enough. And now I'll put the big one on. Big one goes around the barrel, as I'm calling it. And there's a little groove in here that it sits in. Get a good look at this before you take yours apart, just to make sure you know, but there's a groove right here, that's where the O-ring goes, and then on the tip, there's the other O-ring right there. Now, we're gonna take our filter, slide it on. It's a nice, snug fit. And then I'm gonna screw it back in where it came from. Okay, I've about got this hand tight. All right, still turning a little bit, but it is tight. And I'm gonna go as tight as I can by hand, and then I'm gonna give it a little more. There it is, it just quit by hand, and I'm gonna give it just a hair more of a turn with the good old channel locks. Now these are the big channel locks, and they're all the way open. This is a big cap. And I'm gonna kind of come in here from the side. There we go, I think that's tight. Okay, here's our air box for reference. Just to the left of it is the oil fill. So then this little plug here, we're gonna twist this, cap comes off, and this is where we're gonna put our oil in. It's the last step. I've got a funnel here, I hope that stays put. All right, we've got the oil filter in, the drain plug's on, we've drained. Now we just need to fill this thing with oil. So, 13 quarts is gonna take a little bit. I've got a funnel here. It's not the best fit actually. I kind of wished it was a little more secure, but I think it'll work. These big ones are kind of the hardest to pour. All right, one down. How much does this stuff cost? I'm trying to get every drop. Okay. Jug number 2. The way I'm doing this, I'm using 2 of these 5-quart big guys, and then 3 of the smaller ones. These diesels take a lot of oil. That one went in really quick. All right, now we're on to the little guys. We got 3 of these. Feels good. Just the other day, I got new tires. I got the BF Goodrich KO3s in a 275 7017. I've had BF Goodrich tires since my very first pickup truck in the 90s. I probably literally have 30 pairs of these BFG KO 1, 2, and 3s now. They are awesome. But it feels really good getting my van in tip-top shape after a big trip through South America. This is gonna be nice. All right, I'm to the last jug here. It takes 12.3 liters in here, so I wanna do about 1/3 of this. A little more. There we go, that should be it. I'm gonna check it with my dipstick. Yes, I said dipstick. I added a dipstick to my van. A lot of these now don't come with dipsticks, but you can go to the Mercedes dealer and buy a dipstick. I did that. And then I've also got the electronic gauge inside on the dash, which I trust that as well. But it is kind of nice just having a good old dipstick. Looky there, yes, a Sprinter van with a dipstick. Yeah, it looks good. I'm gonna run it for a minute, let the oil circulate through, and I'll check it again here in a minute. And if I need to add a little more, I've got a little more, but I think it is good to go. So there it is, oil change on a VS30 2019 Sprinter chassis. This is a 2021 Winnebago Revel. It's not too hard to do. The first time you do it, it's gonna take a little bit of just figuring it out and getting the hang of things. But every time you do it, it'll get a little easier. I like to change my oil about every 15,000 miles. In South America and Central America, I was doing it every 5,000 miles because we had worse diesel quality, and I was using that as a way to kind of keep it happy for many of those impurities getting in there. But now I think I'm back to my normal interval. I've got the South America oil out, I've got good old Mobil 1 in, and we should be good for a while. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I'll do more maintenance types videos mixed in with our travel stuff. I think the next one I need to do is the fuel filter, which I normally will do the oil change and the fuel filter at the same time, but I'm going to make that a separate video because not everybody wants to watch the whole thing all together. So look for that. It's coming in the future. We'll do a fuel filter change. All right, guys, that's it. I'm headed westbound. Until next time, I hope I see you somewhere over the horizon. Take care, guys. We'll see you. What do you do with this old oil that now I have in my drain pan? Well, I'm gonna put it into a jug, probably in this case an old milk carton, and I'm gonna take it up to the auto parts store where they will recycle it for me. You don't wanna pour this thing down the drain. You don't want this ending up in a river. You don't want this going into the ground. Let's take care of it the right way. Let's take it somewhere and let the professionals recycle it. They even collect this stuff for free at the Napa right down the road.